In this video, I want to share with you some tips that can help you prevent fluid spills when you're disconnecting radiator hoses, heater hoses, and fuel hoses. You know, it's really frustrating when you need to go into your car and remove a component and then have to deal with fluid leaking all over the ground, particularly gasoline, as it can be very dangerous. So there's a couple tools I use to help prevent these type of spills, and one in particular I want to show you now. Here's a common challenge you may face when working on old cars. This is a water pump housing off an old Mercedes diesel, and this is the heater hose that goes into your heater core inside the car. So, you know, you want to change the housing or you want to replace the hose, and there is a lot of coolant that is coming down from your heater core in behind your dash. And you can pull this hose and have a bunch of coolant pour out onto the ground if you're not careful. So rather than have to get a drain pan out and drain this, I like to use these clamp off. These are hose clamp off tools. They come in a set of 4. The 4th one is already clamped up on my 190E here for a later demonstration. But what you can do is, these are just so slick. You can adjust them for different size hoses, and you just slip it over the hose like this, and then bring the clamping part in and lock it into the pin, and move it up as close as you can, and start tightening it down. And it'll take a while to crank this down tight, but eventually you will collapse the inside of the hose to the point where no coolant can leak by, and now I can loosen the clamp, pull the hose off, and I don't have to worry about big spills. Now, you may get some residual coolant out of this housing here, so have a drip pan handy or a wad of paper towels to catch those drips when you do finally remove that hose. I'm in the process of replacing the thermostat. My 190E is located right in this housing, and I'm just too lazy to drain the coolant out of the radiator. So enter these hose clamp off tools, and notice here I've already clamped off this return hose up to the coolant reservoir, and I've loosened the clamp, moved the clamp out of the way on this larger hose, and I will open up this larger clamp, move it onto the hose like this. Watch as I swing it into place to lock that pin right in there. Then I'm going to move it forward. I won't move it all the way to the edge because you do need to have some area for it to collapse down. Now I'll crank it down. Now I should mention here right now that if you have hoses that are rotten, then this is going to destroy those hoses. So you should be replacing the hoses anyway. Also, check to make sure your hoses don't have wire inside. Some of the older cars have wire reinforcements inside the hose. If that's the case, you cannot use this clamp. Just keep that in mind when you're planning to clamp down any hose. All right, that's down tight. Now I'm going to use a couple paper towels. I'm going to stick them right under here. I've got a little drip pan under the car just in case I get a rush of coolant. But notice here now as I work this hose off, look at that. Just a few drips, and now I can remove this housing here, put the new thermostat, clamp that housing back, and I'm done. Isn't that slick?